Now, at what point in the 2006 main event did you start seeing, oh, hey, look, this thing is got some legs. I figured out a little something, little momentum. What were some of the highs and maybe some of the lows?
Yeah, on day one, everything went wrong. And I was basically going to be out by the dinner break. I mean, I was just losing. No matter what I did, everything went south on me. I couldn't win a hand, no matter what, no matter how. Aces, no good. I flop a set, no good. Top two pair, no good. I make a straight, they river a flush. Whatever it was that could go wrong, went wrong. And I was still, back then we only started with 10,000 chips. Now you start with 50,000. And yes, the blinds were smaller, but it was still much tougher to kind of stay alive when you only have 10,000 chips, even on day one, because, even when the blinds are getting up to whatever, they're at, whatever, 250, 500, when now I'm down to 10 big blinds,
right. You're real quick.
I was down to maybe 3,000, 2,000 coming near the dinner break. And I remember that my friend, two of my friends were flying home that night from Vegas on a private jet. They were going to do a big birthday party. And I told them to save a seat for me because I'm definitely going to be out. There's no way I'm making it past the dinner break. Things were just wrong. And then by the last level of the day, I was number 2 in chips, and of that day, right? There were usually back then. I think there were 3-day ones. Maybe they made it into 4-day ones, and so I got sat on a table where two of the other, maybe there were top 5 of us that had this level of chips. Let's call it 150,000, which was massive. It would be like, having 750,000 on day one now, crazy amount.
Do you remember that moment where it went from, hey, look, I'm not doing too well, I'm puking up chips? Was there a pivotal moment before it started?
No, it just all started going my way.
Yeah.
And I think that I wasn't using any of the table talk, because I would just get into the hand with what I believed was the best hand.
Right.
And
so you're just playing like everybody else. Yeah, you're
playing like everybody else,
yeah.
And it was not going well. And then I started the table talk, and because I started getting chips, and I started telling people like, listen, you do not want to go home right now. So just trust me. I'm telling you the 2 cards that I have in my hand, you want to fold.
Right.
And they're like, and they would just give me all their chips, because they would say, there's no way you're telling the truth. You have to be bluffing them. I'm telling you exactly what I have, and you're giving me all your chips. And so it worked out really well so now I have about 150,000, which again is like 750,000 now. I get sat at a table with 2 others. So we're at the last level. I remember exactly where I was in that room. I'm in the corner, last level, and the 3 of us with the big chip leaders, who you would think do not want, the whole strategy is you do not get into it when everybody else has anywhere from 5,000 to maybe, if they're lucky, 30 to 50,000 at the max, but really 5 to 30,000 is where they're at right now. And I have 150,000. All I want to do is play against them, or not play at all.
Exactly.
I could coast into day 2 or 3.
Let them fight it out. Yeah, right.
And so the last thing I'm going to do is get involved with it, but a hand came up, and it was the pivotal hand of the whole tournament for me. And I've talked about this. They did a piece in the New York Times about it. This was the hand where I was in the blind with pocket 3s. The 2 that I'm playing with, one min raised, I believe. The other calls, and I have pocket 3s. So, for a min raise, easy.
Sure.
So easy. So of course I call. It comes something like 3 king queen, 2 diamonds. And there was something going on with the original raiser that I just thought, for whatever it was, you just put people on hands. I just put them on aces for whatever reason, I just thought there's something weird about that min raise. There was just the way, and we've been playing for an hour now, and I just, you just have these ideas.
You tapped into that table energy.
And I was so locked in, but I had no idea what this one had yet. Yeah. I hadn't really put him on a hand yet. And so he bets out. He raises him, pretty big.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, what is going on? Does this guy have pocket queens? I have a set, so I have the third nuts.
Right.
There's no way I'm folding right here. Not right now. And once he does that, and I'm just thinking now, or maybe this guy has a set of kings now.
Right.
And if he does have ace, and I'm just thinking, I could be stuck in a really weird spot, but I want to know, and I'm going to hang around. And it wasn't that pot wasn't that big. So let's say it's probably, there could be like 5,000 in there. Maybe he made it, like 2,000 or 3,000. So I was willing to do that with 150,000. I still have second nuts. I'm sorry. I still have the third nuts.
Yes.
So I call. This guy gets so upset, and I don't remember if he turned over his hand, but he basically said he had aces. And he was like, I can't believe what's going on. I was like, because you have aces.
Right.
And back then, again, you're kind of allowed to talk.
Yeah.
So I was like, we know you have aces. Just fold your hand. We get it. And of course, I shouldn't have been saying anything because it was three ways. I wasn't purposely trying to collude or do anything. I was just ignorant. It was my first World Series of poker. And I'm so excited, but also really nervous. And so he ends up folding. So it's me and him. Now, a 10 comes, which could easily make him a straight both ways. Like if he had ace king, which I don't think he would have been raising with ace king, so I didn't put him on that. But there is a straight out there that and he could at least have he could have a bigger set than me. I just didn't know where I was.
Right.
And I hate not knowing where I am. And so he's betting into me, and I don't know where I am, and I'm like, I call, but I hated it. So he probably bet like 4,000, and I'm already in for, I'm probably in for 4,000, so it's costing me another 4. And I'm just thinking, I don't know. And even if the board pairs, I might not be good, but I called. Next card comes, it's a flush card. And so I'm hating this. There's a straight and a flush and two bigger sets than me that could easily be in the way that the hand.
There's a lot of variables going on.
I hate my hand, and in the back of my mind, I'm probably hating it. I'm not going to call a regular bet. Probably, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I check. He goes all in, and I'm like, well, then obviously it's such an easy fold, right? But I don't know why. There was something inside me saying, hold on, relax, just focus, and so I just start staring him down. And I'm staring, and I'm staring, and I'm also going, look, I'm not wasting time. It's not that I have nothing. I have a set, and he's like, well, if you have a set, then just call already. And he was getting and all of a sudden, because we're the two of the top 5 chip leaders. Yeah. They like all the reporters are around.
Right, they're starting to gather around.
People are gathering around, and I am taking way too much time. Right. And I know it, and I'm saying like, all right, you can call me down, call me, clock, whatever you want. But I'm going to take all my time on this one because I feel like he's bluffing me.
Right.
All of a sudden, because he would never get that angry.
Yeah, why would you get so angry?
He was so angry about everything. And I'm like, I've never seen someone who's about to be the massive chip leader. I'm talking about like 10 times the average or 20 times the average.
Right.
Why is this guy so upset with me?
Oh, he doesn't like the sweat.
And I'm just like, you know what? This could be the worst call that I ever make, but if I'm right, and I just saw it in his face, he does not have it. He does not have me beat.
Right.
I call, and he turns over ace queen, which just was like, what? Made no sense, but I just felt like my read was so on. At that point, I was 98%. That I was right, meaning he didn't have a straight or a flush.
Right.
And he also didn't have a bigger set than me. Maybe he was the one with the aces. I don't know. But this guy said that he didn't turn him over. Right. But he basically did when he's like, all right, I'm going to fold my aces, but he didn't show them.
Right.
So but it was just, that was the hand. So from that point on, I just had this incredible confidence
Right.
that I think maybe some people mistook for arrogance or that I was just full of myself. But no, I just knew that I was in my zone and I was going to trust my reads, and that whatever, that if I took my time, I could figure out where I was in every hand with every player. And also having such a massive stack, you could, especially back then,
Right.
people weren't willing to play back at me. So I was bullying. I was just, every table I would go to, I had the entire table covered. So let's say I had
the firepower,
1 million. Everybody collectively did not have more than me.
Right.
So nobody could hurt me at all. So I was just going at it, and then just going bigger and bigger. And by day 3, I was the chip leader. Because I was still only like, after day 1 and 2, I was still only in the top 10, because there were people who were just running running crazy, and good for them, but they didn't end up going deep. But by day 3, I was the chip leader, and I was a chip leader for the last 8 days straight, which they said has never come. I don't think anybody's done more than 2.
That's ridiculous.
So
That's
that will
crazy.
never be broken,
Right.
probably. I'll always have that fun little record of being chip leader for 8 days straight in the main event.
So let's go towards the moment that's about to be over, right? Tell me about that last hand, and then actually the moment of securing that title.
So we were the under over for the final table of the last day was 27 hours, was what they were predicting. Again, it played differently back then, but the under over was 27 hours that this final table was going to go. I just had the same style. I was going after everybody. I was playing almost every hand. Even if I had to fold or whatever, I would just take, anybody who wasn't willing to put all their chips at risk, I would just slowly kind of take and take and take. And so I was playing probably now way too many hands, but it was working. The style was working. And so I knocked out, what do we have to knock out? 8. I knocked out 7 of 8 myself, which again is very rare, because you're not supposed to be doing all that. You're just supposed to be trying to survive.
You were the juggernaut.
And so I just went after everybody. And so I took out 7 of 8. I'm now down to the last player. And people were predicting that because he only really had to win, even though I had 90% of the chips, he had 10% of the chips. It was somewhere around there, maybe 85-15. Imagine if, so 85-15, it goes 60-30 if he wins one hand. Then he has 60 and I have 30.
Right.
So he's the chip leader in 2 hands, and I'm out in 3 hands.
Right.
You are not that far away, so it looked like, oh, I have this huge advantage. But all the pros were saying, he's going to kill Jamie. He's going to now we're going to go where the real experience is going to. And I just knew that I was going to figure out a way to get this over. And they also said that when we're like this, we were going to be able to battle. We were very deep.
Right.
And so we were going to be able to play. It could have easily gone for 3, 6, 8, 10 hours. And I got it over within 17 minutes. I think we probably played 5 hands, but it was a nothing. And then all of a sudden, he has pocket 10s. He doesn't re-raise me, so I'm kind of like allowed to, play a hand pretty inexpensively. And it comes, queen on the flop, but queen with some kind of draw on the flop. And he bets, and I make it look like I'm bluffing.
Right.
That in the same way that, because I think I had the last couple of hands, I'd probably just maybe shoved all in, and showed him a nothing, knowing, figuring that he didn't have anything. So meaning it all just kind of fit my narrative of that and he's just feeling like. And so I ended up talking him into it, and that's what he said. He's like, "All right, you talked me into it," and I had him, and so it was. And he was the nicest guy. He was so classy and respectful, and I was just losing my mind. But at that point, I hadn't slept a lot in the last 10 days, and when you're sleep deprived and on this adrenaline rush, I was kind of in another world, and I didn't know if it was what I was dreaming. or an actual reality. Truly, I did not know.
Absolutely.
When they were interviewing me afterwards, I would say, I'm still not sure, because it could have been a dream. You know, when you're really sleep deprived, you don't know if this is this reality or is this, you know, and so I was just, I couldn't believe it. And my dad was, you know, so bad at that point. They tried to get him on a hospital plane because he knew that you know, he had very few days, maybe a month left, and they couldn't get him on the hospital plane. He wanted to be there for it, but he couldn't do. So what I asked was, and it was 7:00 in the morning, New York time. And so what I asked was, is could I have a moment? The minute that I won, I was still sitting at the table. I said, I just want to call my dad, because all my other like friends and family that were able to make it were out there with me. And I just asked for a moment of silence because I just wanted to make the call to him and let him know that before he died, he could see that I actually, you know, I was very successful in helping other people, but I had never done anything kind of what I, you know, for myself. And so when he said, I just wish you would do something that would only make you happy before I go. And so he could see that, you know, I was actually successful at something that was just making me happy. And so I called him, but he was already sleeping. You know, he was kind of in and out of it all the time. And so I didn't get him, but I got to leave him this message that was really, you know, really nice afterwards. And so
he's got to be so proud of you at that moment.